and doesn't look like the other two will be joining us. So
Okay.
I'm just going to start now. Yesterday, I believe we were talking about the tools that are used for this purpose, the tools that we make use of in penetration testing. So I'm just going to expand upon that.
Okay.
So yesterday I had talked about Nmap. I had talked about uh, Nikto as well. So a few scanners we had
Yes, sir.
discussed. So basically, these are the tools that you'll see commonly being used. Okay, then you have Sublister. I think we covered Sublister as well. There was Derb. Derb is actually something that I'll show you when we work on a web application, because using it excuse
Okay.
me, online without permission is a little troublesome. So Derb is not something that I'll be using on a live website for now. Okay, Metasploit. Are you familiar with Metasploit?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Yes,
Little bit, not that much.
a little bit. Okay. See, Metasploit. Okay, basically the first machine that we'll be targeting is Metasploitable. So Metasploit is something that we're definitely going to use there.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, actually, I'm just waiting for my Linux to boot up. And
Okay.
okay, when we talk about vulnerability scanners, what tools have you used or what tools are you familiar with?
Nessus, little bit.
Okay.
I have an introduction type of knowledge.
Hmm.
Uh, and Nmap inbuilt scripts are there, na, sir. So I
Yes.
use those things for vulnerability scan.
For vulnerability scanning, okay. Nessus is
That's it.
yeah. Nmap, of course. There are
Yeah, yeah.
vulnerability scanning scripts in Nmap. And, now these
Yes, sir.
applications, like Nessus or Nmap, these are like generalized. If I'm specifically targeting web applications, then what kind of scanners can I use there?
I don't know, sir.
No, okay. See, for web applications, what you can do is, I think I discussed Nikto yesterday.
Sir, I can't hear you actually. Can you repeat?
Hello, am I
Yeah, yeah.
audible?
Yeah, now you are audible.
Okay. So I'm saying, did we talk about Nikto yesterday?
No, sir, no.
No. Okay. So I'll show you that as well. There are some scanners which are specifically for scanning web applications or websites. So
Okay.
a scanner like Nmap, again, it can tell you a lot of details about a website. But something like Nikto or Uniscan, okay, that's another tool. It will give you more detailed results about the kind of vulnerabilities that you can find in a website. Now, like I mentioned, there is a scanner called Nikto. So I can
Okay.
simply specify Nikto hyphen H. H is for host, whatever I want to scan. And Nmap has a domain. You might be familiar with this, scanme.nmap.org.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can try to scan this. So now this can give you a lot of relevant information about a website. So the first thing it starts with is a server. Then it talks about a few HTTP headers, and it uses a vulnerability database known as OSVDB, open source vulnerability database. And
Okay.
if it finds anything, it will show you in the results here, but it can take a long time to run. So for now, I'm just stopping it. Now, this is one tool. Another one is Uniscan. Okay, so Uniscan is also a tool which can be used for scanning web applications. Permission denied. Okay, I think I might have to use sudo here. So I can specify a URL, or I can specify a list of websites. So let's say sudo uniscan hyphen u and http. This is going to actually save scan results as an HTML file, as a web page.
Hello.
Yes. Is there something you
Hello.
wanted to ask? Yeah.
Hello.
Yes. Hello. So it's going to save it in an HTML format, and you can go and take a look at it.
Hello.
Yes. Hello. Are you not able to hear me? Hello.
Hello.
Yeah. Are you unable to hear me?
Sir, can you hear me? Hello.
Yes. Yes, I can hear you.
Hello.
Yes. Am I not audible?
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, can you hear me now?
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah.
And now only I just joined, sir. I have some problem with my network connection.
Oh, so right now I am like you're able to hear me properly.
Now it's okay.
Okay. So we were looking at this Uniscan, and it saves results in an HTML format.
Can you repeat this Uniscan, sir? Uniscan.
Uniscan. Okay. See, it's another tool for scanning web applications. So you can simply use Uniscan and the URL when you provide the URL that you want to scan, and it's not going to show the entire thing here. It's going to save the report as an HTML file, so you can look at it later on whenever you want to.
Which
Then
folder,
there is
sir?
hmm,
In which folder it will save, sir?
it has its directory called report that it creates.
What, sir? What, sir? Can't hear
It
you.
has its directory that it creates.
Okay.
So
Okay. Within that it will save. Okay.
yeah, another tool is WP scan. Okay, but
Sir, what are the information this Uniscan will give from website?
whatever it can find, like directories or even, let's say, it finds some vulnerabilities, or it may find some sensitive data, sensitive files, or actually it has its own database of what files you might find are sensitive. So if
Okay.
it feels like something like that is present, that is going to tell you, is going to give you some details about the server.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so quite a few things are there. Then there is another tool known as WP scan. Now WP scan is also a web application scanner. However, this is only useful for scanning websites that are using WordPress. Okay, so this is only going to be relevant for WordPress websites. In any other case,
Okay.
it won't work. So if I were to provide it a URL, let's say again our, if I were to provide it this URL, see what kind of result it's. Okay, first it's asking me whether I want to update the database. Okay, that's always a good idea. So if your scanner asks you, any scanner that you have, if it's asking you for an update, you should never deny that update.
Okay.
Scan aborted. See, it's saying that the remote website is up, but it does not seem to be running WordPress. So it is only going to work for websites that run WordPress. Also the name also reflects that. So WordPress security scanner is not going to work for any other kind of websites. But if you do have a website that does contain WordPress, then this is a very efficient tool for scanning those websites.
Okay.
Now with Metasploit, you said that you have seen that already. So Metasploit, that is, I actually Metasploit is something we will be covering a while later. So that's not an issue. Now Netcat, are you familiar with this Netcat?
Yeah, yes, sir. I use little bit. Open port, close port, all those.
Okay. So Netcat also I'll be using. when I switch over to Metasploitable.
Okay.
So if there's any questions you might have about that, we can cover that later on. Now, are you familiar with any password cracking tools, or have you used any such tools?
Mm. I have seen means John the Reaper
Okay.
and forgot other tools, but I saw sir brute force attack, all those things. Burp
Okay.
suit, burp, burp suit,
Yes,
brute force
Burp
attack.
also works. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So John the
that's
Ripper
all
is
I know.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So it's simply you can use John, and it gives you a lot of different options. So you can crack different kinds of password hashes with it. Now let's say you come across a password hash, but you don't know what kind of hash it is, what algorithm has been used to create the hash. So what would you do in that situation?
Decrypting the code.
No, it's a hash. There is no decryption.
Okay, okay,
Okay, you have come across a password hash. You need to figure out the password, but you are not sure which hashing algorithm has been used, whether it's MD5 or it's SHA-1 or it's SHA-256. You're not sure about
okay.
that. So there is a tool known as hash identifier. So what it will do is, if you provide it any hash value as an input, it's going to return the type. It's going to tell you what kind of hash.
Okay, what is the input, sir? Input. What is the input for this?
Input would be a hash value.
Okay, okay, okay.
Okay, so let's say
Sir,
we
what is the difference between encryption and hashing?
difference between encryption and hashing. See, in encryption, what you're doing is you're taking some data, which is known as the plain text,
Yeah.
and you are converting it into a format that will only be on, like, you're converting it into a format which is not going to be readable normally.
Mhm.
But encryption algorithms, they use a key. So anyone who has a key knows the algorithm that has been used. They can decrypt that to find the original plain text, and
Okay.
your encrypted data is known as ciphertext.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so with encryption, you can, like, there is, it's a two-way process. From plain text to ciphertext, the process is encryption. From ciphertext to plain text, it's decryption.
Okay.
Hashing is a one-way process. Okay, if you're hashing something, if you're creating a hash value, then
Okay.
let's say you take a word, you give it as an input to a hash function, it will give you a value. But that value, like, there is no
Okay.
reverse process. Okay, you cannot get your original data back from that value.
Okay. We will be comparing those hash value and we will be finding whether it's correct, same word or not.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so hashing, you understand the purpose of hashing and encryption is different.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
In password case, we will be using hashing only, no, sir. No encryption, right?
Yeah, in password we use hashing because, like I mentioned, it's a one-way process. So
Okay. Okay.
okay. Now coming back to this, so the input is any hash value. So for example, I'm giving it this hash as an input. If I press enter now, so this is the hash that we gave it, and it is telling us that the possible hashes are either it's MD5, or these are some cached credentials for a domain. But actually this is correct. It's an MD5 hash. So this is an MD5 hash value I just grabbed off the internet. And okay, so this is MD5. So this is a very reliable tool when it comes to trying to identify what kind of hash you have come across. It's also
Okay.
going to tell you least possible hashes. So this is not likely to be any of these values. It's telling you that as well.
Okay.
But we are mostly just concerned with this, the possible hashes first thing is MD5, and that is what we are going to continue with. And you can also enter more values, but I'm not going to do that currently. So for identifying what kind of hash you have come across, this is the tool, hash identifier. Okay, now we have talked about tools. Yesterday I gave you an introduction on penetration testing.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to move on to Metasploitable. Okay, so that's the first machine we'll be targeting, a Metasploitable machine. So
Sir, is there any other tool apart from John the Ripper to crack the password?
there is also Hashcat.
Hashcat. Okay.
Yeah, but with Hashcat, the thing is,
Hello. 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 Hello, sir. What happened, sir?
yes, actually, power outage, so the Wi-Fi turned off.
Okay, okay, okay.
Now, okay, I'll turn the sharing on again. Okay,
Okay, now you can hear no, sir. Hello.
now I'm able to hear you.
Yeah, a little bit, sir. It's breaking actually.
Oh, I'm
Yeah, now you
actually
are clear. Now you are clear.
okay. Okay. So what I'm saying is, I have my Metasploitable system up and running. What
Okay.
What do you think should be the first thing I need to figure out before I can proceed any further?
Information gathering part, like what type of operating system, those things.
Information gathering is correct. So what is the first thing that I need to find out about the system? Now, see, I know it's not online. There is no website
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
involved.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I
So
need
I
to run,
think we can jump to enumeration part because it's not deployed. So I think we can go to enumeration part and we can start scanning.
okay, so we can start scanning. But what do I scan? I don't know anything about the system. How do I scan it?
Hello.
There is something to
Uh,
yes.
t-
Hello.
First, we need to discover who are there in our network because the system is deployed within our network. So from that, we can get the
Yes.
IP address of that device. Hello. Hello.
Figure out the IP address first.
Yeah, IP address of the device.
Figuring that out, do a ping scan in nmap, nmap-sn, and the network is 10.0.2.1 slash 20 slash 24. So it's telling me that there are currently 4 hosts up. So these are the
Okay.
4. Now, if I do an if config, this is my 10.0.2.1. This is the IP of the gateway, so I can rule that out as well. So I have 2 possible IPs currently, this 2.2 and 2.252. I can try to scan
Okay.
what kind of results we obtain here. Now both of these devices are giving us results. Okay, so what I can do is I can
Okay.
take it one step further and do an operating system scan. Okay, it requires root privileges, no problem. Okay, now this is what clears things up for us. So in the first case, it's telling us that the device type is voice over IP phone, webcam, or other device, and it's not able to properly tell us the IP that's running. Sorry, not IP, the OS that's running. While in the other case, it's telling us that the device type is a general purpose device running Linux. So we know that this is our metasploitable device, and the IP is 10.0.2.252. So I can use that information. I can focus completely on this one now.
Okay.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is let's try doing a vulnerability scan. Nmap hyphen p hyphen. So for all ports, I want to do this. And 10.0.2.252, since we know that that is our IP address. Okay, so this is the scan that I'm going to run.
Okay.
Now let's see what results we get. Yeah, am I audible right now?
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I just switched networks back to my original Wi-Fi, so
Okay, okay,
make sure.
okay.
Just excuse me for a couple of minutes, and I'll come back, and hopefully
Okay,
by the time this scan will have finished.
yeah. Hello. हाँ सर हो गया क्या?
Yeah, am I audible?
यस सर या
Okay. Apparently, Zoom ran into a connection error.
ओके
So the scan is 99.96% done. Okay. Script scans usually take longer than other scans because scripts take time to run.
ओके
Now for Metasploitable, what we are going to do is I will be making use of the tool Metasploit
ओके
during the process of hacking Metasploitable. But after this, when I move on to other systems, I will not be making use of this
ओके
because then I'll simply go on to doing things without Metasploit. Because see, in an actual penetration test, okay, you are not limited in the sense that you can use Metasploit as well. But the thing is,
ओके
if you rely too much on Metasploit, then there are some things or some concepts that you might have difficulty with when if you have to do them manually. So we are not going to be relying heavily on Metasploit throughout this course. But for this particular system from Metasploitable, we can use it. Okay, finish faster. Okay, in another terminal tab, what I can do is run a version detection scan on our Metasploitable device. And when you set this up on your virtual box, you need to be careful that both your systems should be on the same network. Otherwise, your Nmap scan, the
ओके
first ping sweep that we did, that won't be able to give you the IP address of your Metasploitable system.
ओके
Okay, so you have to keep that in mind as well. Okay, let's see how further this has progressed. See, without scripts, it can take much faster than with scripts.
या
Sometimes the script gets stuck for a while and causing another issue. So one scan has finished, and this is the one where we did the service version detection. So
Mhm.
this is now over. So okay, there are a total of 65,535 ports that are present, and out of that, this is the number of closed ports, 65505. That means 30 ports are open,
Okay.
and these are the details of all those ports that are open. So the ports along with their services and the service versions. Now, this service version information, this is very helpful because not all service versions of a particular service will be vulnerable. So there are some particular services, there are some particular service versions that will be vulnerable to some exploits, but not all.
Okay.
Okay, now if I go through this list, okay, there is one thing that catches my eye at first, which is this metasploitable root shell. So it's not even a service, but it's simply a root shell. So if I try to access it, I'll get root access, or I should be
Okay.
getting root access because that's what it suggests. So let me try connecting to it. And since it's not a service, it's not a proper service or anything, it doesn't have its own tool. So I can use Netcat to connect.
Okay.
Now with Netcat, I need the first thing that is the IP address, and we know that 10.0.2.252 and the port number. So the port number is 1524.
Two, four. Okay.
Okay, so I'll specify that, press enter, and as you can see, root at Metasploitable. So now I am root on the Metasploitable system. So who am I? Root. And I can do whatever I want on this system. I have root privileges, so I can even see passwords and all. So this is a shadow file where the password hashes are stored. So I can also view this file. Okay, so these are the accounts that have passwords on them. So root, sys, MSF admin, Postgres, user, service. These are the accounts which have passwords configured. So let's say I take this user account. This is the hash. So what I can do is I can get this hash from here.
Sir, I have
Yeah.
one doubt.
Yes.
Sir,
Yes.
to bypass the firewall, Nmap is not useful actually. So, which tool is useful, sir, to bypass the firewall? Or else we need to write our own custom scripts.
Nmap can be used to bypass firewalls. That is actually something.
But it's detected, sir. All the time when I scan, it used to detect and it will be
What
showing filtered.
Nmap? Did you use anything to? Did you use any techniques to like?
Yeah, little bit to just scan my actual windows,
Okay.
but it was showing filtered.
Actually, this is a topic that we cover later on in the course. Where I'll talk in detail about that, about
Okay, I
evading
just want to
firewalls
know
and
whether we will be
other
using
detection
Nmap
mechanisms.
or custom scripts.
So there we'll take a look at how. No, actually, that's not a part of this course.
Okay,
Okay. See, with Nmap, we let this scan finish. Then I'll. There are a few techniques that are mentioned, and let's see. Okay, for that we'll have to take a look at Nmap.
Hello, sir, can you hear me? Hello, hello, sir, can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Okay, so you can use fragmentation, so you can break your packets down into small chunks. You can specify custom packet size values. Okay, decoy, using decoy IP addresses just to blend in with normal traffic to make it difficult for them to identify you.
okay,
You can spoof source IP address. Okay, this source port spoofing, this is more useful here because there are certain
okay.
ports like port 80 for HTTP or port. So by default, if you don't random
Sir, actually, your voice breaks, sir.
on your
Hello,
system as the source.
sir, your
Hello,
voice is breaking.
hello.
Yeah, now I can hear you, sir.
Okay, so I'm saying that there are some ports like port 80 is for DNS, port 80 is for HTTP.
Okay,
So there are some ports that are usually allowed by most firewalls. So
okay.
a couple of examples
Sir,
I
voice is breaking,
just
sir.
gave you. ATN
Sir, your voice is breaking. Hello,
3, there's also 21. So what you taking?
Sir, your voice is breaking actually.
Am I
You
audible?
must. Now you are audible. When you talk, the voice is breaking. Can't properly hear you.
Am I audible now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now you are audible.
Okay. So if you spoof your source port, if you make it look like your scans are coming or your scan probes are coming from a particular port like 53 or 80, it's more likely to be allowed by the firewall, and that is also a technique you can try using.
Okay.
Then spoof MAC. Okay, spoofing MAC is not going to help you
So what
pass
is that
firewalls.
proxies? Proxies?
Proxies is if just if you have some proxies available that you can use for this purpose, so you can relay your scans through the proxies.
Okay.
Some proxy server if you have available for use, then you can relay your traffic through that. But that's not something that's going to help you with the firewall evasion. That can help you with spoofing your source IP and making it more difficult for the person on the other side to trace you, but it's not something that is going to help you with getting past firewalls.
Okay.
Okay. And there's also this bad sum option. if you send packets with a bogus or a bad checksum, then that might lead the, I mean, not firewall in this case. You'll be trying to
Okay.
evade detection by an IDS, so it might not really consider the packet as a threat or anything, and your packet will go forward to your target.
Okay.
So these are a few techniques that you can use to try and evade your firewalls and IDSs. And spoofing, of course, that's done to hide your IP or your MAC. So that is, again, you have options for that as well.
Sir, when you scan a reverse proxy, how that does work, sir?
Scan a reverse proxy.
Yeah, if a website is behind a reverse proxy, how to scan that website? Is there any way to scan? I'm asking.
Are you able to access the website normally?
Yeah, normally I can access. Just I need to scan for open ports and close ports in that website.
So if you are able to access it, what's the issue with scanning?
No, no, sir. I'm telling the scenario and I'm asking whether I can scan the website just passing the reverse proxy.
See, if it is accessible, then it should you should be able to scan, because a proxy is not going to, see, a proxy is not a firewall, right?
No, no, reverse proxy, it will change the port number, na, sir. Backside, it will be running at different port number.
So I'm not saying that you may get the correct results, but you should be able to scan. Now there might be some
Okay,
variations with
okay,
the kind of results you get, but again,
okay,
this is all based on trial and error.
okay, okay,
There's no definitive answer that I can give you in this case.
okay, sir.
If it works, it works. It might not work in some cases, depending on how they have configured it.
Okay,
So when it comes to evasion, or when it comes to getting past something to run a scan, the only thing you can do is you can try using different techniques, but
okay,
no one can give you a guarantee on whether a particular technique will work or not.
okay.
Okay, so what we were doing is, so you can take this password that you find here. Let's say I take the password for this account. I copy this. I come back to my system, although I wouldn't be doing this normally, because see, if I already have root access, I don't need a user password. Root can do anything
Yeah, yeah.
on a system anyway. So I can come back to hash identifier. If I paste this hash here, so it's telling me that it's an MD5 hash for a Unix system. Okay, so I can exit out of it, and then I can use something like John the Ripper. But with John, the thing is, I need to save this password in a file. So what I'll do is simply touch, not touch, password txt, paste it here, exit, save buffer, yes, and I can run John on this file, pass.txt. So it is going to try different techniques, and I don't even have to specify a hash technique here.
Okay,
It is going to detect that by itself. See,
okay.
I didn't specify anywhere that I'm giving it a MD5 hash. I never mentioned that in my
Hmm.
command, right? So it's going to detect that on its own, and it's going to try and crack that. Now, again, cracking or password cracking can be a process that takes a lot of time, can be very time consuming. So I'm not currently going to let it finish, because I don't really need this password at this moment
Okay.
since I'm already
Okay.
root. We are already root, so why we need a user password?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to close this tab now. Yeah, actually, I'll need it further on. Now, this is one thing that we've done, Metasploitable root shell, we simply accessed it. Now, if I take a look at the vulnerability scan results here, okay, so I find that there is a backdoor in the first port that it shows us itself, the port 21, which is for the FTP service, file transfer protocol. And the service that is running, VSFTPD version 2.3.4, has a backdoor in it. So this is a
Okay.
vulnerability that can be exploited.
Okay.
So let us see how we can do that. Now I'm going to shift to Metasploit now. I'm going to start Metasploit, and through that I'm going to try and exploit this vulnerability. So we are in I need to find out what to use now. Metasploit has a lot of different modules,
Yeah.
a lot of different things that it can be done. So first I need to figure out what kind of module I need to use, or what particular module I need to use. I know that the service I am trying to attack is VSFTPD, a particular version of that. So what I'm going to do is search, and I'm just going to say VSFTPD. So there's only one exploit for this, only one module, and it's the description is VSFTPD version 2.3.4. Is it the version that we want? Yes, 2.3.4 is the one. So I'm going to use this. Since it is a search result, I can simply say use 0. Other option that I can do is I can say use and copy this entire thing and paste it there. That is
Okay.
another option. But since it is a search result, here we have this number 0 attached to it, I can simply say use 0, and you can see it has now switched to this exploit.
Okay.
Now I'll do show options. So I need to set some options before I can run my exploit. So you can see port is set to 21, which is fine. I don't
Just
need to
our
change.
host we need to set.
Yes, just our host we need to set in this case. So our host is the IP 10.0.2.252. It is set, and I can just confirm that once again. Actually, we can just directly run. We don't need to do this, but it's better to do so before you run an exploit. So now I'll run. I can type exploit as well, run or exploit, everything you can type. So it's also giving you some details about the process. So backdoor service has been spawned with the user ID of root found shell, and a shell has been opened for us. Where my root? So I now have a root shell on the Metasploitable system.
Okay.
So this is another way I can hack into the system. Now on this particular system on Metasploitable, there is a there is nothing to do back onto the system. But normally, if we are covering some other system, CETFs as we call them,
Yeah, yeah.
in that case, file on system. So we'd have to look for those normally. But in this case,
Sir, your voice is breaking. Hello, hello, sir. Hello, sir. I can't hear you. Hello, hello.
yeah, am I audible now?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. So in this system, there's nothing to do, but in other systems that we'll see, we'll also be trying to figure out the flags on those systems. Okay, now coming back to our search results. So this does give us quite a list of vulnerabilities here. SSH telnet, there's nothing. And then there are some results for the HTTP for port number 80. So it has a few websites on it, but we are not going to be targeting websites right now.
Okay.
Now, okay, this is another vulnerability, this dist cc on port 3632. So it's a dist cc daemon command execution. Dist cc is actually a distributable C++ compiler. So it says that this vulnerability allows execution of arbitrary commands on systems running this version and earlier. The vulnerability is the consequence of a weak service configuration. We can try to do this, exploit this as well. So we have the service running on 3632 dist ccd. Let's see if we can find something for that in metasploitable. Search dist ccd. Okay, misspell that. There is just one exploit for this. Let's try that. Now this may or this may not work because there is no version details here, but of course we can always try. Set our hosts and run. Okay, a payload has not been selected. Yeah, it did not select a payload by default in this case. So set payload. And we can use a similar payload to what was used earlier. So CMD Unix interact. Let's try using that. Okay, so value specified is not valid. Let's see what else we can use for Unix. So these are the different ones that we can try. Let's see if we can use the generic one. Sometimes you also need to try these sort of things. With a little bit of trial and error, you can also run. Let's see. One or more options field. Okay, we didn't see the payload options. command string to execute. Okay, we don't really have a command string to execute here. Let's try a different option. Okay, let's try a reverse shell. Show options. So I also need to provide the L host in this case. So L host is the IP for my device. Set L host, and okay, everything else is set already. I misspelled this. Okay, so I've run this and now it has begun and command shell has been opened. Let's see who are we in this case. Okay, we are daemon. Now in this case, we are not root.
Okay.
We are another service. But the thing is, we have also been able to hack the system using this technique.
Okay.
Okay, now this was another way to do this. Have you heard of ExploitDB, the website known as
Yes,
exploitdb.com?
sir. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, what I want you to do is
Okay.
this VSFTPD that we tried, this
Yeah.
FTP
FTP, yeah,
service that
exploit,
we
yeah,
have.
yeah.
Yeah. So we exploited this using Metasploit. Okay.
Huh.
I want you to try and do this without Metasploit.
Okay, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, sir.
So try that. It's
Okay.
it's actually not very complicated or anything. Just try it and tell me
Yeah, okay, sir.
what
No problem.
you found out. Okay.
Okay.
Now, if I take a look at other things in the list, okay, there are not a lot of other results that we can rely on, but we have our version detection scan, and we can use this to further try things.
Okay.
Now, I see another port open known as VNC. Okay, so VNC is virtual network computing, which is simply, it's like remote desktop protocol. It's like RDP.
Yeah, yeah. Hmm.
So we can also try to access the system over VNC since it is open. So what I can do is in another tab, I can use this VNC viewer, and the IP address I need is 10.2.252. Password. Now I don't know any passwords for this VNC here. Let's
Okay.
try blank password. Okay, it says it's failed. You can try default passwords. So I tried pass. Okay, pass didn't work. What about admin? No. Root, again no. Password, okay, now it worked. So I just tried the word password itself, and that
Okay.
worked. So through VNC you are able to access Metasploitable and do
Okay.
whatever you want on it. You also have a root shell. So you should, this is also showing you that it's sorry, not impossible, it is important to keep strong passwords. Don't leave your services configured with default passwords, or they'll be very easy to get into. So that's also something that we can take away from this. Okay, so we have tried to target this so far. FTP, we have tried this dist CCD. There's another service running called Unreal IRCD. Let me try that. The more services you have running on a system, the more ports that are open, the more possible attack vectors you get for hacking that system. I'll shift back to my Metasploit tab, and here we have, you can simply use search for Unreal IRCD. Let's see. Okay, it says that there is a backdoor command execution in Unreal IRCD version 3.2.8.1. What's the version here? Okay, the version is not has not been specified. No problem. We can still try. Use this. Use 0
Okay.
options once again. So our host is always something that you'll need to set in this case. And if I run this again, okay, no payload was selected. So for some modules, there is no payload selected by default. CMD Unix. And what did we have? Okay, let's try reverse again. So L host also we'll set and try to run it. Okay, so the exploit is currently working. Let's see. And it's telling us that the command shell has been opened.
It's like a reverse shell, sir, or bind
Yeah,
shell.
it's a reverse shell.
Okay.
So we usually prefer reverse shells in most things that we do.
Okay.
Okay, can you tell me the reason why we do that?
But reverse shell will log, na, sir.
Hmm?
Reverse shell will be logging in the victim system, na, sir. That's why I will
Bind
prefer
shell can
bind
only
shell.
be logged if you create a connection.
Okay.
In both cases, you have a connection with
Uh-huh.
your target device,
Yeah.
right? So logging is possible in both situations.
Yeah. Yeah.
Purpose of using a reverse shell is that bypassing a firewall is more likely to happen with a reverse shell, because for the firewall it will be an outbound connection which undergoes less scrutiny as compared
Okay.
to
Okay.
the incoming connection.
Okay. Okay.
So that's why reverse shells are preferred.
Okay.
Now,
Both will be logging, sir. Both
yes, both can be
both
logged.
type will be logging. Okay.
Yes, yes. See, because you are having a connection with that device, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Without
Yeah.
that, you are not able to do anything.
Okay.
So again, using this technique as well, we have a root shell.
Okay.
Okay.
Sir, but metasploitable table was a command line interface, but using VNC, you got a graphical user interface.
Yeah,
How is that possible?
because VNC is, you cannot have a just a command line interface using VNC. So even if
Okay.
by default you are not showing a lot of like a GUI or anything with VNC, a very basic thing, sorry, not thing, a very basic sort of system will show up. You can see even in VNC when
Okay.
we logged in on the desktop access that it gave us, there was nothing there. There was just a background and there was a shell. In an
Mhm.
interface, you would see some files or something on the desktop. And okay, so
Okay. So the Metasploitable having a desktop environment installed, pre-installed.
uh, no, Metasploit is not actually having any environment installed. Just as VNC is showing it to us
Okay.
that way. You cannot actually do anything in that
Okay. Okay.
desktop environment. So even if you go
Okay.
to
Okay.
that, you won't be able to do anything there. You'll have to interact with the command
Okay,
line.
just the command line will be working. Okay, okay.
Okay. So this is another way through which we have been able to get a command shell on the system. Now,
Okay.
so the first thing is I've mentioned you try that VSFTPD thing, that exploit without using
Okay, sir.
Metasploit. Okay, so try it out yourself
Okay.
and let me know.
Yeah, sure.
And the next